Hello everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Radu Coravo, and I've been working for Oxygen XML editor for a long time, for more than 20 years. I started as a software developer, and so I worked a lot of time on Oxygen features. Initially, Oxygen was a generic XML editing tool. Maybe more than 10 years ago, we added visual editing support. We started looking into implementing DITA editing functionality. So we started shifting the company's weight towards providing a product which allows technical documentation writers to edit content and to publish it to multiple channels. I also contribute to open source software, to the DITA Open Toolkit, for example, to the publishing engine behind the DITA XML standard, behind publishing DITA content to various output sources. I create various open source projects on GitHub, mostly for publishing. So today we're going to talk about what Oxygen has to offer for the editing XML DITA content, collaborating, and then publishing the content to various output sources. This entire presentation is also available as a blog post on the Oxygen XML blog. So if you haven't read articles on our blog, you can register at the blog at oxygenxml.com. You can read articles, you can register to receive notifications for new articles added there. As an overview, Oxygen has support for permanent user-based licensing, so you can buy a license and have it become yours. We also have support for subscription licenses and floating licenses, but maybe we are one of the few desktop applications which still kept their permanent user-based licensing. We are available on multiple platforms. I'm using Oxygen on a Mac. It can be used on Windows, on Linux. And we have this comprehensive support for editing, reviewing, and publishing DITA XML content. I'm also mentioning the excellent technical support. And this is important because after you buy a product, you need help, you need advice. And if you have already used Oxygen in your work and have collaborated with us, asked for advice, you know that we are there for you, and we try to help you every step of the way. We wanted people to own their own content, to have their own storage facility for the files, and thus to have better privacy. We wanted people to edit using standards, so this is why we chose to implement tools for the DITA XML vocabulary. Because with standards, people can move to other editing tools if they want. They can find other publishing engines if they want. We added lots of tools for allowing people to easily reuse content with the DITA XML standard, a standard which allows people to reduce translation costs due to content reuse. And we put together these publishing format choices. We have DITA XML to modern web help output. The entire Oxygen blog, for example, is published from DITA XML content, and it's published as web help, responsive web help, which can adjust to the screen size, for example. We added support to publish to PDF using CSS for customization. You can also publish to Windows help, even Microsoft Word and Markdown from DITA XML content. And we have lots of customization possibilities, among which the possibility to add your own custom validation rules using schematron and quick fixes, and lots of other choices as well when it comes to this. Usually a DITA project consists of a DITA map and one or more DITA maps and DITA XML topics. And I will show you the DITA maps manager in Oxygen and its capabilities and useful actions. During this this meeting, if you have any questions, just ask away and we can stop and elaborate maybe on certain features. So this is the data maps manager in Oxygen. It's like a table of contents of the entire publication. It can also be opened in the main editing area, either in the author mode or in the plain text mode. So it's an XML document which puts together the topics from the entire publication. We have lots of features to move content up and down, to delete resources, to add extra resources. For example, you can use the fast create topics action to create multiple topics in the data map just by giving their titles. So I have some topic titles here indented. I use fast create topics. I choose the type of topic that I want to create, and then I just created a bunch of topics for a top to bottom approach. Like if you're a technical writer, you may want to start from a larger context, and if you have a plan, like I want to create these 5 topics, you can use the fast create topics for this one. What else can the data maps manager do for me? I can open files from it. I can use the usual find replace in files and search in the context of the entire data map, or replace content in the context of the entire data map. I can export the data map to a zip file if I want, for example, to send it to translations, or I can search for references to a particular data topic. So I have this topic here and I can say snowdrop, search references, and Oxygen should locate all references either from data maps or from other topics to my snowdrop topic. I can also search for references to particular elements inside the data topic by using selecting the element and saying search references. What else can you do? You can apply refactoring actions on the entire data map. I can rename a resource, for example. Let's rename one of these resources. And I can have a preview showing me how the resource got renamed on disk and how the reference to the resource was changed. So this is a powerful refactoring action. What other actions do we have? I can move resources to other folders, maybe extract a part of the data map as another data map. So I can say extract a new data map, and now I have a submap containing these topics here, and now my main data map has a reference to the submap. Other refactoring actions which are possible, I can convert nested topics inside a single file to new topics on disk, convert sections to new topics, or convert from one type of data file to another. For example, I can take a data task and say I want to convert it to a concept. And as you can see, the doc type changed to a concept, and from a task I get a concept just by clicking the finish button. And now I have a task in the place of a concept in the place of the original task. So we have all these powerful actions that you can call, and we also have XML refactoring tools which can be applied on the entire data map, like actions to delete an attribute, rename an attribute, and so on. So all these useful actions can be applied on your entire publication. So Using the DITA Mouse Manager, you have an overview of your entire project. You can also spell check in files if you want to apply the spell checker on all the files in your publication. Yeah, so this is the DITA Mouse Manager support in Oxygen. Let me show you more. If you want to open a specific file in Oxygen, let's say you have a quite large DITA project, you can use the Open Find Resources functionality. So you can find it here, Open Find Resources, and you can either find resources by file name or you can find them by content. So go to content and you search for preparation, and then you find the topics which contain the word preparation inside it. Let's move on to topic editing. So DITA XML topics are small pieces of content which describe a small part of your publication. They can be concepts, tasks, or references usually. So let's see what features we have for editing DITA XML topics. So I have a DITA XML topic opened in the right part of Oxygen. You can type away and just insert text. You can press enter and choose one of the DITA XML elements which can be validly inserted at this specific location, like maybe the bold element. And we have quite an extensive toolbar which can be used to for example, to change the display style. I want to see all full tags in my application. I want to see partial tags maybe. I want to apply a CSS for editing a purpose. Maybe I want to see inline actions inside my DITA XML topic, and this allows me to show buttons. For example, I can click this button and create a short description after the title. The usual functionality like bold, italic, underline, actions to insert cross references. So I can go inside the topic and attempt to insert a cross references to another topic, and I have a preview of the topic. If the topic has other target elements, they appear in the target table. I can navigate between topics using these links. You have support to insert content references. So for example, if I want to reuse a paragraph, I can generate an ID on the paragraph, and then I can go in another part of the publication and I say insert content reference, and I will try to find the snowdrop. Yeah. And here is the paragraph that I want to reuse in this other topic, and then I can insert a content reference to the paragraph. So this content reference is like a kind of a link to the paragraph which gets expanded to the paragraph content in the published output. The content reference is not editable in itself, but you can say edit reference and then you get the chance to edit it. Insert content reference. So content references can also be inserted by copy pasting. So you copy content from one place and then you say paste special, paste as content reference, and then again you get a content reference to that paragraph in the other topic. We have lots of other functionality like working with tables. The usual functionality of creating tables with a title and specifying the number of rows and columns, and then once you have the table you can join rows and columns and maybe use join to have a single cell here. You can select columns and move them around and so on. So all the usual functionality that you would expect in a web process in a word processing tool, is available for you when editing DITA XML content. You have support to insert lists and list items, and once you insert list and list items, you can also use tab and shift tab to indent content on multiple levels of lists, multiple levels like this. So tab to go right and shift tab to go left and so on. Let's try to see what else. So DITA XML is famous for content reuse. So I showed you how to reuse XML elements in multiple places. How about reusing keywords? Let's try to switch to a more complex project. So you have a DITA XML topic here and a DITA map opened in the DITA Maps Manager. This is the Oxygen Users Manual. And we have a specific window which can be used, and it's called the DITA Reusable Components side view. And in this side view, you can see all the available keys defined in the project. So we have lots of key definitions, like the product key, which is bound to various values depending on the profiling. And you can see the product key here, and you can just double click it to insert it in the editor area. The same DITA Reusable Components side view allows you to reuse components. So these are, for example, notes, which can be added as content references to the current document. And Oxygen gathers all reusable components from your project and presents them in this DITA Reusable Components side view. So this is one way of having an overview of your reuse capabilities in the entire project, DITA Reusable Components. DITA is also famous for allowing people to create from one DITA map multiple outputs depending on applying filters. So for example, from the Oxygen Users Manual, you can define profiling condition sets, and you can apply the profiling condition sets and have parts of the user's manual faded out. So if, for example, my paragraph has profiling attributes and it's available only on the XML developer tool, you can see that once I apply the author tool, the author profiling, this paragraph is faded out. So I can switch to the developer if I want for the developer paragraph to be shown in the published output, or I can switch to another filter, and Oxygen will show you visually what you get when you publish. So by default, this part will not be available in the published output. Also by default, the parts which are faded out in the DITA map are not available in the published output. So this is how you do profiling conditions. You select content, and you say edit profiling attributes. You select in what user manuals you want the attributes to be available, and then this content will be faded out or not depending on the profiling condition set applied in the entire DITA map. Any questions so far, or anything else that any particular point that you want me to better explain or to go into more details?
About the content references, can it be shown where it is? Can it be tracked, like this has been linked there, there, and there?
So let's see. Let me insert a content reference first. So I'm here, and I go to this content reference and I insert it. So your question is, if I go and edit this reference, how do I know where it's used, right?
Yes, and if you put the same content reference, let's say, to 7 locations, do you have an overview? Can you later on see where it does go to?
What you have here, if you have some content and you want to modify it, the danger with content reuse is that if it's used in 3 places, Your modification needs to have, to have meaning in all these three places. Otherwise, you modify keeping in mind only one place, but you break two other places. So we have this search reference capability, and it goes to all the data map, and it should locate all places where I reused the paragraph. How do you know you're editing reusable content? In general, people would keep their usable content in what they call warehouse topics. For example, this DITA XML topic is not published as it is. It's just a collection of reusable components which are reused in multiple places. So as a technical writer, if I'm editing a topic in the reusables folder, I need to take extra care. I need to see where is this paragraph used. Does it make sense to make the changes and affect all those places or not?
So now, where does it show it now?
So so I did search references, and I can see all the references. Now I have only one reference here, but if I have multiple references, I can see them in this list at the bottom.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
With pleasure.
And I'm glad about the answer being this one.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have the DITA reusable components side view, which in my opinion is a very useful tool to have an overview of all your usable content. We have ways to insert key references or to define new keys by using a pen child, and then maybe in the formatter here a pen child key definition with keyword, and maybe I can say my product and my product name, and once I define this new key, you see the reusable components refreshed, and now I should have my product available here to be used in my entire data map, and it will expand to my product name in my case. I showed you the profiling filter capabilities, the way in which you apply a filter and various parts of the content are faded out. And we also have project-wide refactoring, and this works besides being able to refactor the content from the data maps manager by saying rename resource and move resource. You can also go to the project, and in your project you may have multiple data maps. In my case, I only have one data map referenced in the Data Open Toolkit project, but we have a main files capability. So here we have I added all my contexts, all my pairs of data map and filter, and whenever I change I want to change a topic in my project. Let's see, so I get a topic like accessibility, I can say rename, and I should have a preview which shows me where the topic is referenced and how it will be renamed if I click the rename button. So these are project-wide capabilities. We have a validate and check for completeness tool in the data maps manager, and this tool is useful because usually when you open a topic, the topic may be valid in itself, but you have hundreds of or thousands of topics, and you have the data map, and you want to check the validation in all topics from that project. And checking validation also means maybe checking for broken links, or for links which may become broken because you filtered the wrong elements. So this is the validate and check for completeness dialog, and it has lots of capabilities of reporting problems in your data map. You may apply filters when you validate, and this means that the validation will be done taking into account these applied filters. So you check, and Oxygen should go through the entire user's manual and maybe report problems if it encounters any problem. Like, for example, I may have a broken link somewhere. Let's create a broken link. I add a link to a topic, and then in the href I just I make it broken, and then I can say validate and check for completeness, and yeah, already the link is reported as broken by the validation process. And this topic may be hidden, maybe I don't know the link, I just use validate and check for completeness, and I find these problems. How else do we handle validation? We have custom schematron validation rules which can be applied either on a topic or on an entire project. For example, if I want to insert a list with only one item, so first it says you have a validation rules here saying you have an empty element. Most data elements should not be empty. So this is a custom validation rule. We have the automatic spell checker, and we also have a terminology checker add-on which can be added to Oxygen to add validation support inside the content, inside the paragraph, for example. For example, this says do not use the word easily, or it says do not attempt to use ensure and something like this, or like be edited is in passive voice. Try to avoid first person plural. So you create your own validation rules. For example, for schematron we have some validation rules in our rules folder, and for terminology checking we have an Oxygen term checker folder which contains the Microsoft Manual of Styles. So we apply the Microsoft Manual of Styles as people are editing the DITA XML topic. So these are some of the ways in which we try to help people create valid content, valid DITA XML content. How do we help people migrate their content from other formats? One way is to just copy paste from, for example, from a web browser. I copy the content and then I can paste it inside the DITA XML topic, and Oxygen should preserve the the structure of the copied content and automatically convert it to DITA XML. Other ways are, again, if I have a Microsoft Word document, again, I copy content from it and paste. But I may have lots of content that I want to migrate to Oxygen, and for this we have the batch documents converter add-on in Oxygen. So from the file menu you can say import convert, additional conversions, and here you can convert HTML to DITA, Markdown to DITA, Microsoft Word to DITA, and other formats like Confluence or Docbook, or even OpenAPI. Let's convert a Word document to DITA. So I will try to find the Word document. So I have this flowers document here, and I will convert it to a DITA map and with multiple topics. So I press convert, and from a Word document I get my DITA XML project, which I can later edit manually, and once I have the DITA XML, this is what I will use later on when publishing. You can also integrate other types of files in your DITA map. So we have support to integrate Markdown directly in the DITA map, and I should have some examples here. Like I have a DITA map containing Markdown DITA topics. So these are DITA XML topics in Markdown format, and they are converted to DITA XML dynamically when you publish. And you can also do dynamic conversions which are more advanced, like I may have a Word document referenced directly in my DITA map, and the Word document gets converted to DITA XML dynamically when I publish my content. All the facilities that Oxygen offers for editing and for validation can be customized. So as you saw, we have a DITA XML toolbar. Everything can be customized by a particular company. A company can remove maybe the bold, italic, and underline actions from the toolbar. They may remove maybe actions to reuse content. They may want to add custom actions to the contextual menu, or even to the DITA Maps Manager contextual menu. So we have all these capabilities to customize the editing experience for a particular company by allowing them to filter content out or to add their own custom actions to the toolbar. Maybe they want to insert a specific XML element when a certain toolbar action is pressed. Maybe they want to contribute to the main DITA tool menu with particular actions. So we paid attention to let Oxygen be as flexible as possible for our enterprise clients who want to customize the editing experience for their writers. We have a default add-ons repository in Oxygen, and you can find it in the help install new add-ons dialog. So here you will find lots of useful add-ons to install. I'm not sure if the internet helps me, but just to enumerate some of the useful add-ons that you find here, you have the Git client add-on, which allows you to connect to Git repositories, Content Fusion connector, which allows you to review technical content in a web browser, the Bash Documents converter that I showed you, which allows you to convert Microsoft Word to DITA XML, for example, terminology checker with which highlights problems in the document. We have an add-on for translating, for creating content for translation using the Fluenta application. And we have the Oxygen AI Positron Assistant that my colleague Sorin exhibited in a presentation before this. And for Positron also we have some recorded webinars if you want to explore further the AI capabilities that we built into this add-on. Also an add-on which allows you to see what feedback people gave you on the published help. So moving on a bit, how can you store content if Oxygen doesn't give you its own storage capabilities? You can use a Git project, for example. You can use Subversion projects. You can use SharePoint servers. You can use WebDAV or Exist. We have lots of integration with the commercial CCMSs. Or you can build your own plugin for Oxygen and connect Oxygen to your own storage facility. As an example, this is the Git staging add-on in Oxygen. You can see all the topics which have been modified in the current version of Oxygen. I can take a topic and commit it and then push it to the main Git repository of the Oxygen documentation. I can pull changes from the documentation in order to have the latest version of the changes on my side. So we offer these helpful add-ons which you can explore and which should add extra functionality to Oxygen if you need it. How do you review content with Oxygen? One way is to review content internally. So we have this DITA XML topic. I can press enable change tracking and then whatever I write and delete will be done with the track changes functionality. We have a special side view called the Oxygen review view, which shows me all the change tracking in the current document. Sometimes I may not want to modify the document in the review stage, so I can just select content and maybe give an indication. Please give an indication to the technical documentation writer. The technical documentation writer, once I commit this topic to GitHub and they update, they can reply to my content, and maybe they can say that they have fixed the problem, and maybe mark the entire comment as done. But we have other interesting ways to collaborate and to review documentation. And maybe the most interesting way to do that is the Content Fusion platform. So let's say I want somebody to review 2 topics that I wrote or that I modified. So I will say add to review task, and here we have the Content Fusion Task Manager. I have 2 topics that I want to review. I have a context for them, and I have I would say maybe review functionality. This is the title of my review task. Maybe I can configure the due date when I want the review to be finished, and I will upload the content on the Content Fusion project. And in Content Fusion, I can see the topics here, and I can click the share button, and I can share my topics either with specific colleagues of mine, or I can say anybody who gets this link will be granted access as a reviewer. So I can copy the link, click done, then I can give the link to maybe to the subject matter expert. The SME goes to Content Fusion, and then they can review the link. I will not go through the 2-factor authentication, but they can review the link just like here, click it, make changes, and they are made with change tracking. Then they can see the task activity here, and once they're done, they can say close review, and once they close the review, I can go back to Oxygen and say, let's see what the technical documentation writer who reviewed my content did. So I go to Oxygen and I get my changes back from, let's say, from the web browser. So this is the Content Fusion Tasks Manager, which is quite an useful add-on for Oxygen, and it has its own, it's a commercial product which is with its own purchase website. Or you can also add, you can review content by using the Oxygen feedback platform, which can be integrated to leave feedback at the end of each topic in your documentation. So you publish to web help, and at the end of each topic, somebody can leave feedback. They can either be logged in, or you may allow anonymous people to leave feedback for you. So you leave feedback, and then the technical writer may get a notification, and then they can reply to the feedback. And also the technical documentation writer can say, okay, I want to mark this incident as resolved. So this is another way in which somebody can leave you feedback on an issue. Let's talk more about the Content Fusion collaboration platform. So Content Fusion allows people to...
It's bad.
So, okay. So it allows people to review content in a web browser, but it also allows, recently we added support for projects. So you can go to Content Fusion and connect it to Git projects. And in my case, I connected to the Oxygen users manual. And I can see the content of my project directly in a web browser. I can define my deliverables, which are all my publication needs, and I can build my deliverables directly from a web browser. So I can click build, and it will start the build process and in the end provide me with the PDF, for example. I can define connectors which upload my PDF on web help, maybe to an Amazon server or to an SFTP server, or maybe to Netlify. So I have this capability to publish directly from a web browser if I connect Content Fusion to my Git project. What else do I have? I can view the metrics report for the entire system. I have settings. I can see the members which are in my project, and I can create review tasks based on my project. So I can take a topic, and exactly as I did from the Oxygen desktop, I can maybe right-click it and say add to review task, and I can start a review task directly from a web browser. And we added support to allow people to edit their project directly in a web browser. So I'm entering my personal workspace where I can edit content in multiple topics. And I can also, I can see the data map, the publication data map, and maybe I can select the filter that I want to use for this. So I make changes exactly as I would in Oxygen desktop, and then I can see in the changes window all my changes. So then I can commit my changes with a short commit message back to the Git repository. So this is one area where we're working in Oxygen, a way to allow people to work on DITA XML content directly in a web browser. I can also have capabilities to search for content.
What do you have your moments?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Content Fusion. Review content, but also it allows you to edit directly content from a Git repository. What else did I have to show you? Capabilities to translate, to help people translate their content, export a data map of a zip, or export it to an XLIF file, and the publishing capabilities. And maybe on a small data topic, I can say convert it to webhelp responsive. I have all these custom layers that I have, which allow me to change the coloring completely, and then I can just publish the content if it works.
You don't have
I think,
license key.
yeah, I think I'm using a custom publishing engine. Let's switch to the other publishing engine, and I have my data map. I publish to webhelp, or I have my data map and I publish to PDF, or and all this can be customized using CSS. We have a CSS styles basket. So the styles basket allows people to customize how webhelp works. Here's the PDF, and the styles basket allows me just to pick colors for various parts in the PDF, to pick up fonts and so on, like the default font, use Arial and so on, and then to download a CSS which can be used to customize the publishing environment. This is what I wanted to show you today. What are your questions for me?
What about pictures?
You can include the images in DITA XML topics. For example, here the iris topic has a reference to to an image. Yeah. And the image, of course, appears in the PDF and the web help afterwards. You can adjust the scaling of an image, maybe make it larger, stuff like this.
You can also add video content.
Video content, yes. So that it appears in the published output as a embedded YouTube video or an embedded video on audio content as well. Yes.
About the translations, you mentioned you can make a translation zip file over there. What file format is the contents of this zip file? And is it XLIF or is it DITA XML?
By default, without any add-on installed, we create a zip with all your DITA XML topics there. And there are translation facilities like Tridian, which just take the DITA XML content and give you back the translated DITA XML content. If you install the Fluent add-on, the Fluent add-on allows you to create XLIFs. And you give the XLIF to the translator, they give it back, and then you import it in Oxygen and you create the translation for French, for example.
And if I get the DITA XML back from the translators in the zip file, then I would need to import it into my CMS. Will that be done through Oxygen or by some other means?
If you work with Oxygen with the Git repositories, you're on your local disk and you import it on your local disk. If you work with the CMS, usually CMSs have their own way of doing the translation. You would do that on the CMS side. They have maybe a web browser in which you define your translation jobs and stuff like this. So Oxygen, if you have a commercial CMS, Oxygen would not really be involved in the translation process. You would use it for the primary language.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for attending.